Hi, my name is Elantra Brown. Today, I will be telling a story about an event that really opened my eyes to what life as a nurse can involve. Hopefully, with me telling this story, other students will be aware of the importance of remembering that in our job, there is life and also death. On this particular day, my preceptor went with another nurse to check on the patient. When my preceptor returned, she told me that they will be intubating the patient. I went into the room to see the intubation of the patient. The patient's eyes looked glossy and the patient was taking very shallow breaths. The patient O2 was in the 70s. They finally did the intubation after a couple minutes, and the patient nurse asked if I would like to put in the NG tube. I did, and after a couple minutes, another nurse noticed that the patient's pulse was not showing up on the screen. So they felt for it, but they could not get the pulse. They used a Doppler to try to hear it, but they couldn't hear it. So they began CPR. I did the second round of compression during this first CPR. I was really nervous and my heart was beating really fast. During this CPR, I heard them call many medications such as Epi, bicarb, and calcium. They also gave D5W after checking the patient's glucose, which was 40. Thankfully, the patient's pulse was felt. However, the patient did code again and we did CPR once again. During this round of CPR with compressions, I did not feel as nervous. The patient's pulse did come back, but her vital signs were not stable. At this time, the doctors had talked with the family, and the family had decided that if the patient codes again, they would not do CPR. Unfortunately, the patient did code again. We prepared the body for the family to see. This event opened my eyes to the other part of healthcare that a lot of people do not really think about. I know my mindset coming to nursing was to help people get better so they can go home. This event showed me that not everyone goes home and how important it is to really care for the person in the bed as a human, because they're someone's mom, dad, sister, brother, or son. During this code, I saw how a good leader was so important. The charge nurse ran the code. She wrote down everything that was being said and done, which was very important because the charge nurse was able to tell them when it was time to give epi again. It also, her doing this showed me that in the future, if I was the recorder doing a code, I would have to pay close attention. And I also need to understand what the medications are, what intervals they're giving in, and why I'm giving them. The recorder is very important in the code. They tell when the next dose is done, and at the end, when coming to document, the nurse who patient is can document everything more easily. Because during the code, a lot of things are happening, and it's very easy to lose track of time. Hopefully, me telling about this event will help people be aware of a lot of things that most people forget when choosing nursing. Death and dying is part of healthcare that's not really covered in school. And sometimes it's not truly felt until you're in that moment. I know after this experience, I went home and gave my daughter a really long hug. Thank you for hearing my speech.